Broadcasting around the world, this is On the Record with Christian Briggs. Serious talk about what's happening around the world and how it affects you. Unfiltered truth for a world on edge. Follow us on X at BMC_HAM. Live in 3, 2, 1.
And now a big part of President Trump's economic agenda is the One Big Beautiful Bill. It was signed into law this past summer and should really start to come into play for Americans at the beginning of next year. The Treasury Secretary says you can expect record tax refunds thanks to the bill. And with us now to discuss how the bill could impact your wallet is Christian Briggs, CEO of Hard Asset Management. Christian, happy Friday. Great to see you as always. Christian, the bill locked in, you could say, a higher standard deduction, but 90% of Americans take that standard deduction. You think that's the most important or significant part of this bill from a tax perspective?
This podcast is brought to you by Hard Asset Management. We have the lowest prices on all precious metals. Call us at 844-426-4653. That's 844-426-4653.
Well, first of all, great question, and thanks for having me. It's a great question, and let's talk about that. When you look at some of the basis of where those tax cuts are really going to be formulated, especially in tips for the hospitality and the restaurant or anybody that gets tips, because if you go to Starbucks, tips are now everywhere. If you go to just about any place, you've got tips where you can give as appreciation for great service, and a lot of us do that. Well, think about how much money that is in tax-free status or at least lesser tax rates. And top of that, you've got a spending in the Hispanic community for small businesses. This is one of the best parts of the bill, in my opinion. And based on the question you asked is, it's going to help every areas of every demographic from the medium to the smallest of businesses, because in the Hispanic market, there's going to be grants. There's going to be special opportunities for like small business loans. This bill is bigger and better than what most people have ever thought. And it's going to add about $4 to $5 trillion to the economy in both GDP, and that GDP is going to filter down. So both on the top line and the bottom line. And one of the things that I've tried to kind of make clear, the stock market is going to go crazy over this bill. So the question you ask is, how will this affect everybody? It's going to affect everybody from the very bottom to the very top.
Christian, as you touched on, it seems like the tax refunds could act sort of like a stimulus come next year. Where do you expect that to show up?
Okay, good question. And yes, it is a stimulus. Anytime somebody gets a refund or just a check in the mail, we call it mailbox money, that money is going to go into the economy somewhere. Now, a lot of people may buy a TV, a down payment on a car, or they may put it in the stock market for long-term investing like a 401. Either way, that amount of money, just like President Trump gave the veterans $1,776, which, by the way, was a brilliant number in relationship to the country's 250th anniversary, there's going to be a stimulus of at least $4 to $5 trillion that, again, will come from checks in the mail, check rebates on taxes, or outright just tax-free, like on Social Security and tips and so forth. So I think the stimulus money, and you make a great word there, stimulus, is going to be filtered everywhere. And don't be surprised if you see a 4 or 5% GDP or more, could be more, in the third and fourth quarter of 26. That wealth effect will carry to the entire economy.
That's a significant number, Christian. If the GDP could hit that kind of growth rate, that would be incredible, especially if inflation continues to come down like we saw in the last report. Now, Christian, you brought up the stock market. We know that when the stimulus checks went out during the pandemic, the stock market benefited a lot. You're saying with the tax refunds, it could also benefit. Is there anything else in this bill that we could start seeing the effects of in the stock market come next year?
Oh, absolutely. Let's talk about what the bill does. It also has a lot of money in for AI adoption and infrastructure. So as we continue to move into an artificial intelligence world, which can maximize profits for corporations by lowering the costs of goods. In other words, whatever that business is, it lowers their operating costs, It puts direct bottom line profits back into the system. Many corporations are doing more reinvesting than ever before into whatever the business that they're doing. And I've noticed in watching this and getting numbers, the young people that 18, 19, 20 to about 33 are investing more and more today. Look at Robinhood and other applications that they can easily purchase stocks of which that are starting to come into relevancy. So when you have stimulus money coming into the economy and you have a lot of new generational people and generational investors that have more discretionary or more disposable income, we're going to see that reflect in the equities market. Don't be surprised if real estate starts to take a little bit more of an uptick in the second half of this year. But I want to talk about the inflation. We have seen President Trump with some incredible policies. I mean, the guy hasn't even been there technically a year, and he's already got inflation under control. And I want to make sure I'm clear about this. It's not completely there yet, but it's in a controlled environment. So you've seen gasoline come down. Gasoline, let's just take oil. Oil itself is made and utilized in every aspect of our economy and our world, from manufacturing, distribution, transportation, petrochemicals. They call it upstream, downstream. So as we continue to see oil kind of find that night $55 to $60 per barrel, we see stimulus come in. We see expansion of Small Business Administration loans go 4 to 6% GDP. Believe it or not, it could happen. And I don't think President Trump or our great Secretary of Treasury, Scott Bessent, would say otherwise. There's definitely going to be a very good growth opportunity for investors coming into 26 and 27. And I believe inflation will be tame. It's not necessarily out of the woods yet, but I believe we've got somewhat of a handle on it.
Well, that would be incredible. Again, if they hit that number, like you said, I haven't even heard the Treasury Secretary throw out numbers like this. So I think it would be a successful. On the inflation part, to President Trump's credit, he has said that energy is a major driver of inflation. Remember, Elon Musk was telling him his government spending, government overspending, printing money is the primary driver. And President Trump would say, we also have energy costs. So he has prioritized bringing down these energy costs, which we have started to see in oil and gasoline. Christian, you touched on another interesting point. You brought up AI. I want to talk about jobs and how the labor market could be impacted, because this bill, it also introduces new work requirements for able-bodied people if they want to get benefits like Medicaid. So let's take AI. We hear it's replacing jobs. Trump administration trying to get more people to work. Where do you see this bill having any impact on the labor market broadly over the next 1 to 3 years?
Okay, let's talk about that. There's been a lot of, I would say, excitement and fear within the AI community of labor. AI is not going to replace millions of people overnight. The people that it might, I would call, transition from one industry to another. As those people are transitioned, there's going to be a revolution in demand in labor to make AI even bigger than what it already is planned with these data centers. I was recently talking to somebody about the needs of the data centers in the United States, and West Texas obviously is getting a lot of it, and this will go right to your question. There's about 400,000 to 500,000 people that are needed in the United States. Electricians, plumbers, roofers, glass guys, cement guys. We're talking about trade school stuff. We're talking about really smart people that are needed to finish the build up. And when I say finish the build up could take 10 years. It could take 20, because when you make it, you build it, you've got to maintain it. So a lot of people are feared that maybe the AI will replace a lot of people. Yes, it's going to transition people from some industries to others. It's going to explode industries that had really been kind of, well, lackluster, I guess, in demand. Now you got electricians that are making $300,000 a year if they're willing to work overtime. Well, of course they're going to work overtime for that kind of money. So I want to make it very clear, AI is going to bring about a $900 billion windfall in corporate profits over the next 2 years. That's going to transition right into the economy. Number two, the jobs that are not being lost, let's not say lost, but transitioned from A to B to C to D, are all going to be within the context of this huge infrastructure. And that's what President Trump is doing. He's revolutionizing. I like to say he's going from analog to digital. There's no job losses, there's job transitions. Industries like trade schools are blowing up from students. Industries that need those students to become full-fledged trade guys are working. It's happening. And when Secretary of Treasury said we're going to have an explosion in the GDP, and Ludnick said 4 to 6%, Trump said explosion, they're not that far off. Now maybe it's 3 to 4%, 4 to 5, but it's going to be revolutionary. It's going to be strong.
Well, let's see, Christian. I know there are many people who are not as optimistic as you are on the jobs front with AI and the changes it may bring, but let's wait and see. Christian Briggs, we appreciate it, sir. Have a great weekend. Talk soon.
My pleasure. Thank you.
In uncertain times, the smartest money doesn't sit in the stock market, it holds weight. The price of gold has risen from $1,700 an ounce in 2020 to over $3,800 by late 2025. Silver is currently around $46 an ounce, a 155% increase from roughly $18 5 years ago. Follow on X at BMC_HAM for all news and the latest developments. Gold has more than doubled in just 5 years, rising from $1,700 an ounce in 2020 to over $3,800 an ounce by September 2025. That's a 124% gain, outperforming the market and proving why gold is the ultimate long-term hedge. As global debt soars and currencies weaken, central banks are hoarding gold at record pace. Why aren't you? Call 844-426-4653 or visit bmcham.com. Protect your future with real assets. Own gold now.